I love Persona, like, a lot. I played most of the main series games. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that, but I knew if I was going to stream the games, that wouldn't work. After all, viewers probably wouldn't be very entertained by me getting through a fight by abusing the very easy difficulty option. So I figured that if I was actually going to do this, I should really do this. The goal of the run became clear: defeat the game on the highest difficulty setting while achieving 100% completion. However, as a chatter pointed out, the only difference between very hard and hard is the amount of money and XP you get from fights, and not being able to restart the floor on death. That meant playing on very hard would just be more grinding, and not necessarily harder than hard. So, with the blessing of the only viewer I had, I decided to knock the difficulty down to hard, about 3 floors into Yukiko's dungeon. Now, I should clarify what I mean by 100%. I've decided to do this challenge on the Steam release of Persona 4 Golden, which brings with it Steam achievements. So I'm counting 100% as beating the game while getting every Steam achievement. This will require, among other things, maxing every social link, completing the Persona Compendium, reading every book, defeating a few super bosses, becoming a hardcore Reset fan. You know, the normal Persona stuff. Oh, I'll also be completing all of the quests because obviously I didn't have enough to do already. Now you may be thinking, Owls, how are you going to do all this in one playthrough? Here's the secret, I'm not. See, at least 2 of these achievements are impossible to do in your first playthrough, and plenty of others become miles easier when done in a second playthrough because of what gets carried over into New Game Plus. So the plan is to get as many achievements as possible and set up for a New Game Plus run in the first playthrough, then clean up the remainders in the second. This means I need to finish the first playthrough with a good amount of personas and skill cards registered, a lot of money saved, my social skills maxed, and as many achievements as I completed as I can. Most of the achievements in the game are rather easy to get, but I do not have an encyclopedic knowledge of this game. So for some achievements I will be using a Steam guide that I will be linking in the description of this video to help with planning and routing. With all that said, let's get into the run. Like I said, I love these games, but god do they have slow starts. I looked at my footage and it takes about 2 hours to get to the tutorial battle. The tutorial is just a basic fight introducing the battle system. One cutscene later, we get thrown at the first boss of the game, Shadow Yosuke. In this game, most of the bosses are shadow versions of the different characters. Basically, the character's shadow will come out and point out their deepest insecurities. The character then denies them, causing the shadow to go berserk and try to kill them. We then beat it up and the character accepts their shadow, gaining a persona. At least for most bosses it goes like this. Some are slightly different, but we'll get there. Anyway, after a nice warm-up, we beat the boss, and Yosuke gains his persona Jiraiya. After a few more cutscenes, we're finally in the first dungeon of the game. Now I should probably explain how dungeons work in this game for those who have only ever played Persona 5. In 4, each dungeon is made up of randomly generated floors that change every time you leave them, although there are special floors that will always have the same layout but with different shadows and chest loot specific to each dungeon. So if you see something you want on a floor, you better get it then and there, otherwise it's gone forever, with very few exceptions. Beating the dungeon is as simple as making it to the top floor and dealing with the boss, rescuing whoever is gone missing. Yukiko's dungeon, Yukiko's castle, is first. Before we can even enter, Chie runs off on her own to the castle and we chase after her. After one floor of easy fights, we catch up to Chie having a bad time, hearing Yukiko's thoughts about her. Unfortunately, Chie's crisis causes her shadow to come out and taunt her even more, because the shadows in this game have no chill. Predictably, this leads us to fighting Chie's shadow, with a pretty cool design. Side note, but I love the boss shadow and persona designs in this game. They are easily top tier. Now, Chie's shadow can be a bit of a pain to fight since she uses electric attacks, which is Yosuke's weakness. But it's telegraph, so as long as you guard when she does it, you should be fine. Didn't stop me from dying the first time, though. I'm going to be seeing the screen a lot. But after getting back to this point and a lot of grinding, she goes down. Chie gains her persona Tomogozen. The game then kicks you out of the TV and makes you watch more cutscenes before letting you back in. Now that I'm back in the TV, the goal is to make it past the next mini-boss and grind to level 15 so I can take down Shadow Yukiko. So we say hi to Shadow Yukiko, make it to the floor the mini-boss is on, and die to these stupid goddamn dice who always explode at the worst possible moment, and I decide to leave and come back tomorrow. Thankfully for this first run-through, I can afford to take longer on dungeons since we don't have to worry about the social links. Back in the real world, I join the soccer team and buy some equipment before heading into the TV again. I die yet again to those stupid dice on my way to the mini-boss. It's probably a good time to mention that in hard mode, you're able to reset at the beginning of the floor if you die, which, thank God. I probably would go crazy otherwise. After more death, I finally reached the stupid thing and killed it in one try without any of my party dying, because of course I do. It is at this point I decide to grind for the boss. My plan for this is to abuse golden hands and shuffle time. What are those, you may ask? Golden hands are shadows that look like this, that appear in the dungeons rarely. They can also pop out of chests, but we don't care about that for now. Now these guys are a pain to kill. They have high defense, like to dodge your attacks, and resist everything but physical and almighty damage. But if you kill them, they give a lot of XP. With this first dungeon, they can be easily killed by buying a lot of the items that do 50 damage from the shop, since 3 of them will be able to kill 1. Shuffle time, on the other hand, is an event that sometimes happens after battle, although there's ways to guarantee it. During shuffle time, you will be presented with cards to choose from. The effects range, but the one we care about is the wand, which increases EXP earned. One of the ways we can guarantee it is by collecting all the cards that show up in a previous shuffle time. This causes a sweep bonus. By chaining shuffle times and hunting golden hands, we maximize our XP gained along with other useful effects. See, shuffle time is also how you get new personas in this game. We're going to want some good personas before we go into the boss, so I've used up Senri for its fire nullification, Orobus for healing and fire resist, and Fornius for ice to hit Shadow Yukiko's weakness. Can you see the 2 mistakes I made? Time for the boss. The first half of the fight is pretty uneventful. Just hit her weakness when available and guard when she uses her telegraph moves. I get her health down a good amount and then she summons her prince. Not a big deal, just hit him once and he runs away, right? Oh no. See, I haven't played this game in a while and never on hard mode before, so every time I did this fight, he would always run away on one turn after hitting him once. I think what happened is I would always be able to hit the damage threshold. I also forgot that his weakness is electric, so I'm stuck doing neutral damage to him. Great. So one death later, not going to grab Izanagi because I have a blind confidence in my abilities apparently, I'm able to scare off the prince and get our health down low until this happens. This was mistake number 2. I had Senri on as my active persona for most of this fight to absorb her fire attacks. But Senri also has an endurance stat of 4, which means Double Fangs is an instant kill from full health. This is what I get for not looking at my persona's stats. After going to summon Izanagi, I head back and fight her for a 3rd time, finally winning. Honestly, as long as you're not being stupid like I was and you're a decent level, this fight isn't too bad. She has a rather simple pattern that you can abuse, especially if you give Yu a persona with ice skills and have Yosuke focus on healing. Now Yukiko has been rescued, gaining her persona Konohana Sakuya, and we can leave this damn castle. Are you curious to see what happens next? Well, unfortunately, that's still unfolding. See, I'm making this video as I've just finished Kanji's dungeon. So if you want to see more of the run before the next video comes out, I suggest you join me over at twitch.tv/owls. I go live on weekends, usually around 1 a.m. EST. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.